Thank you very much. And thank you, Team Plum, for having me. I'm very excited to be here. I know I look like I'm in a jungle, but I was told do something interesting where you're sitting. Don't keep it plain Jane. So I said, okay, I'm talking about plant-powered food and I'm surrounded by plants. So I hope that's refreshing that it's not a virtual background. A warm welcome to everybody here. I'm very happy to spend the next 1 hour with you. And instead of taking any more time, I'll dive straight into my PowerPoint presentation. I want to keep this as interactive as possible, so keep your questions coming right through the session. I will keep looking at the chat box because I think we are at a time in history where I think, being on screen, on camera, and just being passive listeners has really become the norm. And let this 1 hour not be another hour like that, because you're all here voluntarily with an intention of learning something. So let's make this 1 hour fruitful. I'm just going to screen share. And thank you for the lovely introduction, Aditi, by the way. So we are here for, I like all the way the creatives have been made. Let us, something was there today, and take a leaf from Vinita Contractor, very interesting play of words. So yes, so it's Plum and Vinita Contractor, that's my brand, coming together. I'm sure anybody can rattle these points off because at every webinar you have that. But the only thing different that I like to request for is to keep your camera on, if possible, to just, there's no judgment. You could be in your pajamas, which you have not changed since last night. You may not have had a bath. Doesn't matter. It's just nice to see another human being at the other end. So feel free to keep your camera on. Thank you for that. These are the trainings I have undertaken. And this is what I do. I work with clients on a one-on-one basis. I help them with weight loss and with disease prevention and reversal also of things like diabetes, cholesterol, hypertension, as well as issues such as thyroid, PCOS. So if any of you at the end of the session feel that you would like to work with me, feel free to get in touch with me. I have a Leaf Academy where I have 2 online courses which anyone can take at their own pace and time. One is on everyday dairy-free delights. So after this, again, this session, if you're intrigued or interested in learning how to make the switch to some extent on reducing dairy consumption, you could consider that. And I also have a Fun with Fermentation, a course where I teach how to make gut-friendly, probiotic-rich foods. I have a juice cleanse, which I run every month, where you do it as a group together at your own place at home, but it's great to rejuvenate yourselves and to give your system a break. So that's something that happens. If you'd like to know more, you can contact me later. And I conduct workshops for corporates and individuals and have wellness sessions like this, which I quite enjoy. So this is me a few years ago, and this is me a couple of years ago. I had no health issues per se. I considered myself to be blessed with these very good genes and with good eating and lifestyle habits. But as they say, as life goes on, you start kind of, I didn't slip ever, but I think lots of things kind of, being a parent, raising 2 children, you kind of don't put your, health always in the forefront. And when I turned plant-based, I found a lot of difference in my energy level. All my health parameters were anyway good. They got better. I didn't age as quickly as I should have. I'm at the moment at the weight that I've been pre-pregnancy. So lots of fringe benefits. I switched for the environment and for being a more conscious consumer, but ended up getting health benefits in the process. So today's agenda is, what is a plant-based diet? How is it different from a vegan lifestyle? Why do people choose a plant-based lifestyle? And there are a lot of myths surrounding plant-based nutrition, which I want to bust. Then the most important, I think, a takeaway, which I think all of you would get, is awareness about the health benefits of being on a plant-based diet, and 5 practical steps that you can start taking and then Q&As. But Q&As can come as we go along as well. In fact, coincidentally, I just finished a session with PCRM from the US on talking about plant-based nutrition and heart health. I literally finished it 2 minutes before this, and we were talking about the same thing. So what is a plant-based diet? It's a diet in which plants are the centerpiece. So it means fruits, grains, vegetables, nuts, seeds, and sprouts, and reduction of unhealthy plant foods as well as animal foods. So a lot of us in India are vegetarians. There are equal amount of non-vegetarians as well. And most vegetarians feel, oh, I'm vegetarian, so I'm healthy. You know, I should have better health than a non-vegetarian. So whether you're a vegetarian or a non-vegetarian, a lot of the food that we eat today is pretty fragmented. It's pretty processed, even if it's not from a packet. It's not as close to what nature provided us with. It's denatured in that sense. So which is why it contains less nutrients. So a plant-based diet is where these 5 groups are important to consume: fruits, vegetables, legumes, whole grains, nuts, and seeds. And other foods which are also made from plants, such as refined flour, like maida, sugar, hydrogenated fat. Like I always say, Coca-Cola and vada pavs and samosas are also plant-based, but they're not healthy. They're all from plants, but they're not healthy. So just because they're technically plant-based doesn't make them healthy. Sugar is from a plant, doesn't mean it's healthy. So plant-based diet is where you eat more of plant-based foods, and its focus is mainly health and nutrition, people who choose the plant-based lifestyle. And vegan or veganism or a vegan lifestyle is where it's a way of living, it's a philosophy, or it's an ideology where the concentration is being, it concentrates on thinking of the environment and the animals. The person following that may or may not be eating healthy, because, for example, Oreo is vegan, but that's not healthy. Okay, so when you merge both plant-based and veganism, then you have a healthy plant-based diet, and whether or not you want to extend that into your lifestyle is your choice. So, for example, not using leather, not using silk, not using wool, not consuming honey, not frequenting circuses, not buying products on which animals are tested, are all part of the vegan lifestyle. So that it doesn't become overwhelming, don't let the vegan thing, make you feel overwhelmed. Start with what appeals to you. Even if you start eating more plants, I think the job of the session is done. How far you want to take it is up to you. So vegan or plant-based? In plant-based, eggs, dairy, seafood, poultry, most often are not consumed. But if you do consume a little bit, it's not such a big deal because it's not a stand. Veganism is a stand. So people ask me, so Vinita, do you have any cheat days? So I'm like, my cheat days would be eating sugar. My cheat days would be having coffee. My cheat days would be eating a little bit of junk. My cheat day is not about consuming meat or dairy or eggs. So, but everybody doesn't need to do that to get health benefits. It's not like all or nothing. You don't have to do 100%. You can start with 50%. You can start with 60%, and you'll still start seeing a difference in your health if you start switching to real food, natural food, not packaged, processed, refined food. So if we were to look at what are the major reasons why people choose to go vegan, many people do it for the animals. The next chunk is for health. A small percentage is for the environment, and there are others which are not defined. So that's one of the many reasons people choose to. So again, food for thought, if anyone would like to consider doing that. Let me at this point see there are some things in the chat. Yes, so Priyanka, the question is, it's all about choice. Now, for example, many years ago, slavery was normal, right? In so many parts of the world, slavery was normal, or at some places, even women not having voting rights, women not having freedom was normal. Today, it's looked at as being backward. Today, not treating people to at least a decent level of respect is not considered normal. It's considered uncivilized. So it's one of those things. When we did what we did so many years ago, there was a lot of social context as to why those things were there. And everything when done in a small way, in a sensible way, is different than when we mass produce and treat animals like commodities and grow them in factories. That is when the assault on the environment, that is when the conditions in which animals are kept gets, kind of too extreme. That's where if the profit is the main agenda, then everything is looked at differently. But in earlier times where the cow was kept with the family, fed, was allowed to feed her baby, today a cow is made to be pregnant and lactate at the same time. In earlier times, that no one would ever do that because the cow was worshipped so much. I think one of the biggest shocks in my life in this journey was I never ever thought that a cow would be mistreated in India until I saw the horrors of the dairy industry. So again, let's get into whys from a health perspective, and then get into if you want to consider it. So this is just a summary of the same thing. So let's bust some myths, okay? First thing is, before even I share the slide, I'm happy to take your, the doubts that may be in your mind or the myths that are in your mind about veganism or eating more plant-based food. So Meghna is sharing that you turned vegan to reverse health issues and you dropped 10 kgs on the way. That's fantastic. What myths do you have about veganism? If you don't want to type, you can also.
I think one myth I have is that it's not available. So, meat, dairy products, or eggs are like they're easy to get, right? You can go to a supermarket and get them.
Yes.
But if you're looking for a variety in plant-based health, so I think that's the myth I have, that it won't be available. If I switch to a plant-based diet, it won't be available.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's a very valid one. And I can say that this particular situation that you're talking about has rapidly changed in the last 2 or 3 years. Okay. Today, when I turned plant-based about 6 years ago, I had to explain what vegan food meant when I went to a restaurant. At any supermarket or any place, you had to hunt for things. Today, labeling is much more easy. And just to share with you that India is touted as one of the hubs for plant-based alternative products. Okay, it's becoming into a multi-million business with India providing a lot of solutions for all these things where availability has, till now been a problem. So if we were talking 20 years ago, 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, I would agree. But today, mark my words, in the next 6 months to 1 year, you're going to see a flood and it's only going to increase. And the more the demand, the more you're going to find the prices becoming competitive and affordable. Till such time, first you need to understand why, and then I can help you with how. Okay, so there are easy ways to switch. There are cost-effective ways to switch. And even if you don't want to switch, you can start incorporating more. I don't want to ever say stop. I want to say increase what I think you should increase, and automatically the animal-based foods will reduce on your plate. So, and there are lots of resources. If any of you want to know where you can buy stuff, what are the products, if you follow my Instagram, if you go onto my website, vinitacontractor.com, under resources, I have listed every single alternative that you might possibly want, right? From eggs to meat to butter to cheese to dahi to paneer to everything. I've heard in plant-based foods, nutrition content has decreased compared to 100 years ago. true or not. So what do you mean by plant-based foods nutrition? Are you meaning in general, in terms of the content in all our fruits and vegetables, or what exactly? You can unmute and speak. Meghna? Okay, all right. So she's talking about iron content in spinach isn't the same. So let's understand one thing. Our soil is depleted. Our air is not as clean. Our environment is so badly tampered with that when you're talking about even animal-based foods, when you're feeding them antibiotics, what kind of nutrition are you getting from the animal foods? If we are feeding them factory produced feed for the poultry, for the cows, even their whatever they are providing us with is not the same. So for sure, the content of every natural thing has reduced over the years, which is why you have to eat more and you have to eat more sensibly, and you have to make every meal, every snack count. Because otherwise you'll have calorie sufficiency but nutrient deficiency. I think I will continue and then take these questions because they're all very interesting, but I may not end up finishing with the myths. So one is it's very expensive. That's the first myth. Simple dal, chawal, roti, bhaji is already vegan if you skip the dahi, butter and cheese. I mean, which we don't anyway put in our Indian food. You would probably put ghee and dahi or paneer sometimes. If you drop that, our regular food is anyway vegan, incidentally. What is expensive is almond milk, fancy gourmet, vegan cheese, vegan pastries, vegan desserts are expensive, but everyday food is not expensive. And of course, when you're transitioning, you will want the comfort foods that you are used to. So one is if you can afford it, you buy the ready-made ones. And if you're one of those people who do not agree with why should I have to spend, then you can literally make everything you want at home. And there are so many resources to point you to that direction. The second myth, let me just go back to it. The second myth is you can't get enough protein on a plant-based diet. There are so many athletes who have switched to a plant-based diet today for better performance, for better recovery. Is it easy to get it? Like you don't have to think twice and you'll get your protein? No, you have to plan. You have to eat sensibly. But I'll tell you something, even before you would have turned vegan, you were probably not getting enough protein. Because in India, we tend to eat more carbohydrates, more fat, and our protein is anyway neglected. But the minute you talk of being plant-based or vegan, everybody wants to ask you about your protein without realizing that you are not getting it enough in the first place. So it is possible, you just need to plan it a little better and focus on getting the protein in, which you can easily get through plant-based sources. The third myth is you can't train heavy or you're not strong enough on a plant-based diet. So you can check one of the strongest men in the world who lifts, if I'm not mistaken, 500 or 600 kgs on his bare shoulders is a vegan. Many ultra marathoners, many Ironmen are vegans. I personally know the mountaineer who has scaled Mount Everest not once, but twice on a vegan diet from both sides, one from the India side and one from the China side. Okay. So it's all about understanding how to go about it, and you will not be at a disadvantage by being on a plant-based diet. But you do need to take advice so that you don't fall short on nutrients. That was one of the points on the chat box. Certain things just come to us because of drinking the milk, by having the meat. Okay. So when you drop that, yes, you do have to take care that your essential nutrients do not fall short. Once you understand how to do that, you will not find it deficient in any way. The next myth, which I love always busting, is about plant-based foods being boring or just salads. Please look at my Instagram. Look at people who are vegans. Look at their feeds. Invariably, when people who make the switch become almost like foodies when they become vegans, because they have to understand what contains what. Like till I was not vegan, I did not know that dhokla mein dahi hota hai, jalebi mein dahi hota hai, yeah, this has milk or this has ghee. So it kind of got me into making more food or getting interested in more food. And there is nothing that you can't make in a vegan form. Okay. And you can eat, I think, more variety, because when you drop certain items, for example, if you were a chicken eater and you drop chicken and you eat chicken 3 times a week, you need to find substitutes, right? So what happens with that is you automatically, your eyes open towards the whole world of vegetables and fruits, which you didn't look at till that point. When people say eat more grains, most of us eat only rice and roti, right? But once you're made aware that there are other grains in the whole realm, then whether it's your bajra, ragi, jawar, amaranth, sattu, buckwheat, I'm not even talking about the quinoas and the oats. I'm talking about just our local, inexpensive grains. So same with vegetables, eating local seasonal food, it's never boring, and it's not just salads. And the next and the silly myth is, many people ask me, you eat roti, right? Or you eat sweets, right? So if you want to be healthy, of course, you would reduce your refined sugar consumption. Gluten is not a mandatory thing to give up if you're being vegan. Gluten is just the protein which is there in wheat. So many people drop wheat because they find their digestion works better without gluten. They feel less bloating. They feel less of irritation in their gut. But that's something very individual. It's not a standard thing that all vegans need to give up gluten. So you don't have to give up your roti. That's a choice. So what are the benefits? Yeah, that's what we're all here to understand, right? What do you gain if you give up that much? So you reduce the risk of heart disease, reduce the risk of diabetes, reduced inflammation, more energy for sure, less sick days, reduce cancer risk, eliminate the risk of kidney stones, and inexpensive depression support. But these are just a few. Honestly, there are many, many more. Okay. What I do want to say is, how do you feel after you eat a biryani? Those of you who eat meat and have a nice mutton or chicken biryani, how do you feel after it? What do you feel like doing? I'm reading the chat. Okay, bloated. What else? How many people feel sleepy? You can just put yes, just put why. How many people feel sleepy? Just put yes quickly, just why. How many people feel like going for a jog? Put no, N. Exactly. Okay. So now imagine if you were a marathon runner, okay, and you need protein, right? Imagine you're running a marathon and at the break there's someone serving you biryani. Are you going to take the biryani or going to have a date? What is going to give you instant energy? Right? So yes, protein is important, but you don't need to have it in the most heavy and calorie dense form. You definitely don't need it when you need a burst of energy. The reason you have so much energy is because fruits and vegetables, if they're not cooked with too much oil, they have a lot of fiber and they contain very little of the, it requires less energy of you to digest it compared to meat. So it's math, energy used to digest versus the energy that comes by eating that food. So with protein-rich animal-based foods or oil-rich foods, what happens is your calories are more, the protein may be high in the animal-based foods, but the energy it takes and how much time your body kind of shuts down, where your brain is in fog because you've eaten heavy food, is far less. So net effect is you get more energy. And again, if you're on an unhealthy plant-based diet where you're eating margarine, where you're eating a lot of oil, a lot of sugar, a lot of biscuits, vegan biscuits, if you're eating a lot of our Indian junk food, you will still not have energy. The energy comes from eating nutrient-rich, clean, close to nature, fruits, vegetables, grains in their whole unrefined form. So lower cholesterol, reduction of type 2 diabetes, lower blood pressure, And I've worked with so many clients whose PCOS is, they get periods normally, everything gets regularized, their thyroid counts come down, diabetes, cholesterol, high blood pressure are literally a no-brainer. If you stick to the plan, you will reverse it. What else? Great skin, reduction in breakouts and acne, because all the milk, drop the milk for a week if you have acne and see what a difference it makes. Drop milk for a week in all forms if you have acidity issues and see how you fare. Don't take my word for it, do it and you'll see it for yourself. It helps with good hair and regrowth. Now, I will give a caveat to this, that there are people who lose hair after they turn to a vegan diet as well. And that happens because all of a sudden, a lot of the protein that they were getting from eating animal foods is reduced and they haven't replenished the essential nutrients as quickly as they took it out. So it's important, if you are a big meat consumer, do not abruptly stop. Phase it down. With that, up your protein, up your nuts, reduce your oil, eat more seeds, and then reduce your meat. Don't do it suddenly. But if you do it right, then you have great hair and regrowth, because all these items which I have mentioned over there, some of them are not Indian, I'm aware, but it was a very pretty infograph. But in general, all greens, all our raisins, dates, pomegranate, beetroot, all our basic iron-rich foods, you kind of start opening your eyes to them because you are just eating more plants and more vegetables. Results in healthy weight loss, because we know animal foods have a lot of saturated fat. No creature without a liver can have cholesterol. So when you eat animal-based foods, there is inherent, cholesterol in the food itself, and your body, kind of holds on to it as well. Even cashews and coconut in small measures are fine. Even going overboard with that will end up not being great for you. So it's not like everything from the plant-based kingdom you should eat in abundance, because your fats will always be at the tip of the pyramid, being the least. But generally, when you increase your fruits and vegetables and eat whole grains, you will find healthy weight loss and sustainable weight loss. You'll be able to maintain a weight. Improves PCOS conditions and at times reverses also. Gradually, of course, it takes time. It improves thyroid levels and at times reverses thyroid disorders as well. Now, all these three are reversible: diabetes, high blood pressure, cholesterol. They're reversible on a plant-based diet. So if anyone is struggling with that, please know you do not have to be on a life sentence of medication for the rest of your life. So in addition to all the ones that I said earlier, there are some more. And a plant-based diet is great for our gut health. It's because of all the fiber that comes into our food through the plants and vegetables. What happens is the probiotics, which are the healthy bacteria in our gut, they need food so that they can keep multiplying and living. And that comes through the high fiber foods that we eat. So that is your prebiotic. Prebiotic is the food for the probiotics. So if you eat a varied, wholesome plant-based diet, which is not processed, packaged, not with refined food, not too much oil, you automatically are feeding all the bacteria that you want to grow, that you want to increase. And that's why it helps in gut health. So this is typically what your food chart would look like, your base being vegetables, fruits, then the whole grains, then the leafy greens, then the legumes, and the high fat whole foods are on the very top. Any thoughts so far? So if you've got hair fall post-COVID, eat all the iron-rich foods and have this seed called olive or halim. It's called in English watercress seeds. Soak them overnight, 1 teaspoon, and in the morning consume the seeds they'll kind of become jelly-like. So you can consume that every day, and you can also have soaked anjeers, which are figs. You can have 3 in the morning after soaking them overnight, and it will take a little while, but it will gradually, eventually come up. So let's understand COVID is a new phenomenon. Nobody really knows what to expect and why it's causing it and how to take care of it. But let's understand one thing: when we take something which is known to increase diabetes, known to worsen PCOS, known to even promote cancer, you might get hair growth with milk, but you might get 10 other problems as well. So, and for calcium, we don't need milk. Our sesame or til has far more calcium than milk. And I have a question for you. What does the cow drink or eat to produce milk? How does she get her calcium? How does a cow get her calcium? So we drink the cow's milk to get the calcium. So why not go to the plant directly? Right? Eliminate the middle person, eliminate the middle cow. Obviously, we can't eat grass. I can't eat these plants just because they're next to me. I can't directly eat these and digest these, but we have a plethora of greens which are meant for human consumption, right? So if we consume greens on a daily basis, and I'm going to tell you a very simple, yummy way of getting greens into your system every single day. And I challenge anybody who tries it for 7 days and does not come back to me saying that they see marked differences on many levels. Yes, so the seeds are called watercress seeds, or in Hindi they are called halim or aliv, A-L-I-V. Unfortunately, right now I'm telling you, go on Amazon just because of lack of options sometimes, but you'll find it. Yes. We were discussing. Okay, let me take these questions. Is it okay to eat veg sources like beetroot, carrot, spinach in soup form? Yes, absolutely. What I would suggest is don't strain the soup after you've made it. Whatever you have steamed, I prefer not boiling, because boiling raises the temperature too much, and that reduces the nutrients of these vegetables. So you can steam and then puree, and then don't strain. So the fiber is there, though it's obviously blended, it's still better than straining. So it's absolutely fine to use it as in a soup form. Eggs are not a part of the plant-based diet, and we honestly don't need them. You can get perfectly good amount of nutrients that you would get from eggs in other forms. Have I missed anything else? Yeah. So there was a question about, are plant-based substitutes for meat like Beyond Meat healthy? So I, for one, look at these foods as transition foods, not as staples, as a permanent feature in your diet. When somebody is used to eating a lot of animal-based foods, suddenly when they want to give it up, or even if it's not sudden, but they want to gradually reduce it, people miss the texture, miss the taste. So they're great as transitory foods, but eating, say, 3 times a week, mock meat or soya-based meat alternatives are not really good for health, because they are processed and have a lot of food-like substances, a lot of preservatives, and I think they're okay just for the purpose of transitioning, but not as a daily diet consumption item.
Vinita, I think a few people are not able to hear maybe properly. So PK or Dr. Meenal, maybe you can unmute yourself, and if you have any anything to say. Yeah,
I'll just repeat. Soup is a good form of vegetables as long as you do not strain the soup and eat it with the fiber, and preferably steam the vegetables instead of boiling them. I'm going to continue sharing. So the important thing to keep in mind is eating local, eating seasonal, organic, and sustainable. And when I mean sustainable means, suppose you get all gung-ho seeing all these Buddha bowls and smoothie bowls and you think, oh, that is vegan food. And then you go and end up buying all expensive ingredients like kale or chia seeds or all, avocado, for example. You may not be able to do it for a long period of time, because if you live in a family and, you have to make sure you still stick to a budget, or even if you're alone, you will find that it's not sustainable in the long run. And sustainable also from the point of view of, are you giving local farmers business, or are you supporting big MNCs? Are you ensuring that you are taking care of your, economic condition while you're eating food? You don't want to burn a hole in your pocket every month just because you've switched to a vegan diet. You can eat local, seasonal, organic food, eat clean food. I mean, people don't think how easily we spend today we don't eat out as much, or we don't go to movies as often, but we don't go to movies, but 1,000 rupees or 1,500 for a movie for 3 people or 4 people, people don't think about. When you go to a restaurant and you spend like 2,000-3,000 for a meal, people don't think about that so much. But if they have to buy groceries worth that much, it pinches them, especially if it's organic. But don't we feel that the food that becomes a part of us is worth spending on, instead of maybe a new bag or a new pair of shoes or a watch, which is not really becoming us? It's just something that we are using on the outside. I mean, just food for thought. So it has to be sustainable. Otherwise, it's not going to be a lifelong change. So eat real foods, don't eat food-like substances. Don't eat fried foods. Try and eat more raw, or at least real food. And I'm going to teach you how to make a smoothie. And why do you think I've put this picture? You can unmute and speak as well.
Healthy versus unhealthy.
Yeah.
Yes, that's one way of looking at it. Yes, healthy versus unhealthy. What else? It's absolutely right.
One is marketed, other one is not marketed, like seasonal, you can say.
Superb. Anything which needs an ad is usually not healthy. Nobody advertises eat more bananas. Nobody advertises eat more beetroots, right? What else?
One is made from the other.
Very good. Yes. One is the raw material for the other, in a sense. So all these are
preservatives.
Sorry?
One has preservatives.
Yes, one has preservatives, or maybe the other has pesticides as well. But yeah.
One is fresh, one is not.
Yes, yes. So when you look at the colors, okay, there's a reason the food packets are in the colors that they are in. As human beings, we are drawn to color. Now imagine if all the natural foods were the colors that they are, but the packaged foods were in brown, black, gray. Would we feel like picking up those packets? Even the perfumes that we buy have like fruity, woody, pleasant smelling taste. You don't find things smelling of mud or dust, right? So the reason they are packaged like this is because our eyes are tuned to liking color, and that is why packaging is made attractive to give you that same feeling that you're eating something real, or you're eating something from the plant kingdom, which is colorful, because we are attracted to color. We are one of the few animals which see color to the extent that we do. So that's why it's packaged like this. And like I said, if they were all in black and brown and gray, we wouldn't buy these packets. Let me see what else is. I like this one also. Healthy is still less expensive. Other one, non-healthy, still expensive. Yeah. So I always say the other thing, a McDonald's or a vada pav is cheaper than having a whole home-cooked meal with salad and sabzi. because I always say real food is not cheap in that sense. I mean, if you buy your grains and all, yes, but you know what I'm saying? It's like a packet of chips will cost 5 rupees, but to buy, a dozen of oranges will cost you so much. So it's important to look at food from all angles to see how we are being, kind of silently pushed towards eating more unhealthy food because it's cheaper. So what are the 5 practical steps? So this is your key stuff to take away to make changes. Even if you decide not to switch, but where you are today, what can you do? Eat more fruits and vegetables. That's your first one. Can you take a screenshot or write it down? Whatever you're doing, just do 1/3 more or half more, depends on how comfortable you are. If you're eating 1 fruit, eat 2 fruits, then gradually increase that. If you're eating 1 serving of vegetable, make it 2 servings of vegetables. If you don't eat salad, start eating a salad. The second switch, start eating more whole foods. Instead of polished white rice, try and eat hand pounded rice, which has a little of the fiber in it. Understand that tea, coffee, sugar are all fragmented processed foods. For sweetness, switch to dates, raisins, apricots, anjeers, figs. I'm not saying exclusively, but start consuming more of whole foods. This is the third point. Reduce animal-based and processed foods. See, the word here is reduce, not stop, not eliminate. And have a green smoothie every day. So those of you who would like a detailed recipe, it would be great if you could WhatsApp on this number. This is my office number. And what I would really love is those of you who like this session, if you could follow me on Instagram, it would mean a lot. Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever you're active, or even my YouTube channel. Those of you who like the recipe, please WhatsApp on this number. Now, there are people sending me messages directly as well as on the group about diet for healthy kidney and people wanting a diet for hypothyroidism. So you can reach out to me via any of these, either the phone number or the email, if you wish to take a program or a consultation with me. Because obviously in a forum like this, I won't be able to address individual health issues or give diet plans. So a green smoothie is a game changer. And I can't tell you how great it is to start one, and it's very, very easy to do. And the 5th point is incorporate exercise and movement and activity every day. So we've gotten too used to sitting, too used to being sedentary, and some of us exercise for some time in the day, but the rest of the day we are inactive. Both are important. So whether it's going and answering the doorbell, going and picking up stuff from the ground floor because some delivery has come, picking up, your groceries at home, doing the bed, sometimes, cleaning the cobwebs, whatever it takes to keep you more active. Many of us, of course, did do that during lockdown, but after our helpers have come back, then we just tend to be seated more. And we give ourselves the, that illusion that we are busy, we've got better things to do, but we were not designed to be sedentary. Our body is designed for movement and for activity. So when we stop using our bodies as much as we should, that automatically results in, food being eaten but not being utilized, muscles not being used, and that creates too much of lethargy. So I'm going to take the last few minutes for Q&A. And like I said, if any of you would like to take on a one-on-one consult, sign up for my workshops or join my courses. This is my website. I also told you there are a lot of resources on my YouTube channel. There are a lot of recipes. And this is my handle, contact number. You can take a screenshot if you wish to. Yes. So we have another 10 minutes. Which previous slide would you like me to show? Please let me know which one. Okay, sure. Yeah. The one prior to this, okay. Yeah. I'm going to stop sharing now so that you can ask me questions. Yes, and any feedback for me as well would be great if you can put it on Google, because that's how people get to know of my work. And it'll help me as well. Are any of the health foods not suitable for a specific gender? Like someone told me chia seeds aren't good for fertility. Not sure if that's true. No, it's not true. I mean, there could be specifics like raw papaya or pineapple in too much quantum, which is not good when you're pregnant, or too much stevia when you're pregnant. But by and large, I mean, you have to use your common sense as well. Rohit, that's a fantastic question. And I'm sure it's on many people's minds. So is soya milk a better alternative over dairy milk? Okay, so first thing I want to make you understand, here's a glass of dairy milk. This glass does not have to be replaced with another glass of milk. Okay, what you get from a glass of dairy milk, you're not going to get in another glass of milk. And we don't need, so you're getting things from the dairy milk, but you're getting a lot of stuff that is harmful for you or which is not really helping your health in that glass of milk. So why are you wanting milk is the question. Are you wanting it for taste or are you wanting it for nutrition? If you're having it for taste, then whether it's your cup of tea, whether it is your cereal, whether it is your kheer, whatever, go ahead, use soy milk, almond milk, so many other milks that you can make at home as well. If you're doing it from a nutrition standpoint, then it's better to consume other things such as sesame, like I said, greens, which you will get from your green smoothie or your green chutneys, eating lots of the other calcium-rich foods that we already know, like nachni, etc., and get the nutrients that you are getting from milk. I hope that answers your question. People can unmute, put their cameras on if they wish to speak.
Vinita, I think there was a question earlier about the difference between being a vegan and going for organic food. So could you explain that as well?
Okay, so plant-based, what is the definition? Comes from a plant, okay? Grown in a plant, not made in a plant, okay? Not in a factory. But again, you can have plant-based food coming from a factory as well, right? Like for example, cornflakes. It's plant-based, but it's made in a factory. Now within plant-based, there is commercially grown mainstream, farmed produce, and there is organic food. So they are both plant-based. What is better? If you can, if you are in a city where organic food is easily available and you are finding it cost effective, then by all means buy organic vegetables and fruits and grains. But for any reason, if you can't, then you can still eat mainstream food, because anyway you're eating mainstream animal-based foods, right? Very few know and go to that extent of buying organic eggs, organic meat, organic milk. So you are anyway eating mainstream, so continue eating mainstream fruits, vegetables, and grains. It's not mandatory to be plant-based. You have to eat organic. It's just better irrespective.
There are so many options. Like if we start looking for plant-based food, thing is that we know like the basic ones, like chapati, means like wheat, rice, all those things are there. But there are so many names which are coming up, because like more and more people are getting aware about the plant-based food. But it feels kind of little bit difficult to understand like how to incorporate all those things, like, because we are trying to change everything from from morning till night, so changing from that to this, like how can we make that process easier?
So there are a lot of online resources if somebody would want to. So we're in an age where you can actually learn anything off YouTube. You agree? If you want to learn something today, there is nothing stopping anyone from learning anything. There is so much free content available.
True.
Either do that, or you can approach somebody like me or any other professional who can help you plan your diet in such a way that you do not fall short. Now, any change, now forget about diet. If suppose tomorrow you wanted to start building a fit and toned body, male or female, okay? It's going to take some time, right? Now, if you're somebody who's used to doing absolutely nothing through the day, no exercise, no walking, nothing. When you start making the changes, you're going to find it tiring. You're going to find, oh, I don't know how much to walk. Do I need to buy weights? How do I take care I don't get injured? So any change is hard in the beginning. It's not unique to making this dietary change. Any change is hard. Ask a diabetic when they become diabetic for the first time, and when they're told by the doctor that you need to stop eating sugar and you need to start exercising and you need to make dietary changes and you need to start taking metformin, how drastic that changes have we ever realized when suddenly the sugar goes out of the table? And that's change also. When someone gets a heart blockage and you're told to make changes or get on heavy medication, that's also change. So any change is hard. How you approach it is up to you, whether you do it in your own way, finding out stuff on your own, or you take professional help. That's your choice. And I'm going to quickly answer this. I'm going to put that Halim, Alive, or watercress. What is this link? Yeah, thank you, Aditi, for doing that. And there's a very good question about sesame seeds are a good source of calcium, but are hot in nature too. What can be done about it? And also protein-rich sources, if you could suggest. So sesame is not the only source. It's one of the sources. The way to make it less heaty would be to soak the sesame and then grind and use them into something. And you don't need a lot. If you just eat like a spoon or so, you'll get a lot of calcium. And greens are a great source of calcium, and they're not heaty, and you will get more than enough if you have green smoothie every day. Now, protein sources would be your legumes, your dals, almonds, peas, buckwheat, amaranth, sattu, chole, chickpeas, rajma. All these are very rich in protein. For kidney stone, people say avoid tomatoes. So it depends. So people start making certain food types the villain, and there is some element of truth to it, but there are a lot more other things that are equally important for kidney stones, like hydrating enough by making other dietary changes. Sure, like tomato as per Ayurveda also is not like the best food. I know it comes as a surprise, but it's one of those vegetables which are known to aggravate all the doshas. So eating in moderation would be good. At this point, I would love for everybody to please fill up the feedback form which has been sent on the chat by Sanjeet. Vegan protein powder, there's no harm if you're one of those people who are extremely busy, who cannot plan out a proper diet. Just make sure that your protein powder is clean. It does not have too many flavorings, not too many additives, and you go with reliable brands. I would always say first do it through food, see what your goals are, actually measure what you're eating. From a protein perspective, you can use apps like Chronometer, like Plan My Food, Healthify Me, and figure whether you're hitting your protein requirement or not. And then if required, you can always go in for protein powder, which can be mixed in water and consumed. So,
all right. Thank you so much, Vinita. This was really, really insightful and informational. I think I can speak for a lot of people here as well. I thought I knew the difference between plant-based and vegan, but thank you for explaining that to us and how it's different and how it would affect our lifestyle. Thank you so much again. And we hope to see you for another session at Plum soon.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for staying till so late. And hope to see you again. And feel free to reach out.